When the sailors of Sea Eagle find something strange in the water during their routine patrol of the Indian Ocean, they scream in horror and call for backup. They never expected to encounter a situation that would push them to the limits of their training and imagination. The vast expanse of the Indian Ocean stretched out before the crew of the Sea Eagle Asterisk, a marine life protection patrol vessel. Captain Reet Singh stood at the helm. It had been a long day of routine patrolling, and the crew was looking forward to returning to port. Suddenly, First Mate Amira Patil's voice cracked over the ship's intercom, her tone urgent and confused. "Captain, you need to see this. There's something strange in the water about 500 meters off our starboard side." Captain Singh furrowed his brow, raising his binoculars to scan the area Amira had indicated. At first, he saw nothing but the endless blue expanse. Then, a dark shape broke the surface, unlike anything he'd ever encountered in his decades at sea. "All hands on deck," he bellowed, his voice carrying a mix of authority and barely concealed alarm. "We have an unidentified object in the water. Approach with caution." The crew scrambled to their stations, palpable tension filling the air as the Sea Eagle Asterisk drew closer to the mysterious shape. Confused murmurs began to ripple through the gathered sailors. Marine biologist Dr. Sarah Chen pushed her way to the railing, her scientific curiosity piqued by the unusual situation. "What do you think it is, Doctor?" Amira inquired, her eyes never leaving the strange form in the water. Dr. Chen shook her head, baffled. "I'd never seen anything like it. It's too large to be any known marine species in this region, but it's definitely alive. Look at the way it's moving." As they watched, the shape thrashed in the water, sending sprays of foam into the air. A low, mournful sound carried across the waves, unlike any animal call they had ever heard. Captain Singh's face had gone pale, his knuckles white as he gripped the ship's wheel. "It can't be," he muttered, almost to himself. "What is it, Captain?" Amira pressed, sensing the older man's distress. Before he could respond, a collective gasp rippled through the crew. The mysterious shape briefly surfaced, revealing a glimpse of gray, leathery skin and what looked impossibly like a trunk. "Oh my God!" Dr. Chen breathed, her scientific mind struggling to process what her eyes were seeing. "Is that an elephant?" As if in response to her question, the creature in the water let out a trumpeting sound that removed all doubt. Somehow, incredibly, there was an elephant swimming in the middle of the Indian Ocean, miles from any shore. "This is impossible," Amira exclaimed, her voice rising in panic. "How did an elephant end up out here? What do we do?" Captain Singh snapped out of his shock, years of experience kicking in despite the unprecedented nature of the situation. "We do what we always do," he declared firmly. "We save a life. Sound the alarm and call for backup. We're going to rescue that elephant." As the alarm blared across the ship, the crew sprang into action, their training taking over despite the surreal circumstances. Amira rushed to the communications room, sending out urgent distress signals and requests for additional support. Dr. Chen and her team of marine biologists huddled together, trying to devise a plan to rescue a land animal from the middle of the ocean, a scenario they had never even imagined, let alone prepared for. While the crew brainstormed strategies for the rescue, Captain Singh's mind raced, trying to piece together how they had found themselves in this unbelievable situation. His thoughts drifted back to the events of the past few days, searching for any clue that might explain the presence of an elephant so far out at sea. The Sea Eagle Asterisk had a long and storied history as a marine life protection vessel. Originally commissioned by the Indian Coast Guard 15 years ago, it had since been transferred to a joint task force dedicated to protecting the diverse marine ecosystems of the Indian Ocean. The ship's crew was a carefully selected team of experts, each bringing unique skills and experiences to their shared mission. Captain Reet Singh, a veteran of the Indian Navy, had been handpicked to lead the Sea Eagle's Asterisk crew 5 years ago. Singh's reputation for level-headedness in crisis situations made him a natural choice for this challenging posting. First mate Amira Patel had joined the crew fresh out of the Naval Academy 3 years ago. Her quick mind and natural leadership abilities had quickly earned her a promotion to her current position. Dr. Sarah Chen, the ship's lead marine biologist, had come aboard the Sea Eagle 2 years ago after a distinguished career in academic research. The Sea Eagle's current mission had begun as a routine patrol, part of an ongoing effort to monitor a vast stretch of the Indian Ocean known for its rich biodiversity and, unfortunately, frequent incidents of illegal fishing. The crew had spent the first 2 days of their patrol conducting standard checks, testing water quality, observing marine life patterns, and keeping an eye out for any signs of unauthorized vessels in the protected areas. It was on the 3rd day of their patrol that things began to take an unusual turn. The Sea Eagle had received a series of cryptic reports from local fishermen operating near a small, sparsely populated island about 100 nautical miles from their current position. The reports spoke of strange noises heard in the night, described variously as mournful wails and thunderous roars. Some fishermen even claimed to have seen large dark shapes moving near the shoreline in the pre-dawn hours. Captain Singh had initially been skeptical of these reports. According to his experience, late nights at sea and the isolation of island life often led to exaggerated tales. However, as the reports continued to come in, each correlating with the last, he decided it was worth investigating. The Sea Eagle had altered course to approach the island, arriving just as the sun was setting on their 3rd day at sea. As they neared the coastline, the crew began to notice unusual signs of activity. Abandoned campsites dotted the beach, with equipment left behind, as if their owners had departed in a hurry. More puzzling still were the large, deep tracks leading from the island's dense interior down to the water's edge. Dr. Chen had been particularly intrigued by these tracks. "They're unlike anything I've ever seen before," she had remarked, crouching down to examine them more closely. Too large for any native wildlife on an island this size, and the pattern it's almost as if she had trailed off, shaking her head as if to dismiss an impossible thought. Looking back, Captain Singh would later realize that this was the moment when the seeds of their incredible adventure had first been planted. The crew spent the night anchored off the island's coast, taking turns on watch duty. Several reported hearing strange sounds carried on the night breeze, low, rumbling noises that seemed to vibrate the very air around them. By morning, however, all was quiet, and a thorough search of the island's accessible areas yielded no further clues. With no concrete evidence of wrongdoing or environmental threats, Captain Singh had decided to resume their regular patrol route. The mysteries of the island were filed away as an unsolved curiosity, destined to become nothing more than an interesting anecdote to share during long night watches. Captain Singh's reminiscence was interrupted by Amira's voice, tinged with frustration. "Captain, the nearest backup is hours away. We're on our own for now." The gravity of the situation hit home. They were facing an unprecedented rescue operation with limited resources and no specialized equipment. The elephant's trumpeting had grown weaker, its massive body barely staying afloat in the relentless waves. They were running out of time. "We can't wait for backup," Captain Singh declared, pushing aside his confusion about the elephant's origins. "We need to act now or that animal won't survive. Dr. Chen, what options do we have?" Sarah Chen looked bewildered as she shared the only plan that had come to her mind. "We need to act like a boy for that elephant. We need to pull its body up with ropes and drag it to shore." Captain Singh looked at her in shock for a full minute before nodding. "Did you hear Dr. Chen?" he shouted to the crew. "Gather all the ropes we can spare and prepare to lasso that elephant." As the crew of the Sea Eagle sprang into action, the full gravity of their situation became apparent. They were facing a rescue operation unlike any they had ever attempted or even imagined. The elephant, a creature designed for life on land, was struggling to keep its massive bulk afloat in the rolling waves of the open ocean. Several sailors attempted to catch its trunk or its tusks with the ropes, but the elephant was moving too frantically for them to get a clear shot. Within 5, it became clear that the only way to tie those ropes around its body would require someone to swim out and approach the animal. It was then decided that some brave soldiers would try to reach it using the vessel's rescue boats. Surprisingly enough, several men volunteered for the operation. Captain Singh barked out orders, his voice carrying over the sound of crashing waves, and the elephant's increasingly weak trumpeting. "Lower the rescue boats. We can't waste a single minute." 2 inflatable boats were quickly deployed, each manned by a team of 4 crew members. Dr. Chen insisted on joining one of the boats, her scientific mind already racing with potential strategies for keeping the elephant alive. As the boats approached the struggling animal, the enormity of their task became even more apparent. The elephant's gray skin glistened in the fading sunlight, its trunk raised above the water in a desperate attempt to breathe. Its eyes, wide with fear and exhaustion, seemed to plead with the approaching humans for help. But despite its weakened state, this was still a wild animal weighing hundreds of kilograms, capable of easily knocking any soldier out with a single kick. The thought of diving to tie those ropes around its legs suddenly became too daunting for the rescuers, who started brainstorming alternatives. "We need to stabilize it somehow," Dr. Chen shouted over the noise of the waves and the boat's engine. As the helicopters carefully lifted the elephant from the water, a collective hold of breath swept through the Sea Eagle's crew. The animal hung suspended between the 2 aircraft, water cascading from its body, looking for all the world like some impossibly gravity-defying miracle. The procession moved slowly toward the nearest shoreline, with the Sea Eagle following close behind. As they approached land, more challenges awaited. A suitable beach had to be found, one with enough space and stability to support the elephant's weight. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they found their spot. With painstaking care, the helicopters lowered the elephant onto the sand. The moment its feet touched solid ground, the animal seemed to come alive with renewed energy. It let out a trumpet that echoed across the water, a sound of relief and joy that brought tears to the eyes of many in the rescue team. As wildlife experts rushed to attend to the elephant, the crew of the Sea Eagle gathered on the beach, exhausted but elated. They had done the impossible. Against all odds, they had rescued an elephant from the middle of the ocean. Captain Singh looked at his team with pride, knowing this was a day none of them would ever forget. It was a reminder of why they had chosen this life and this mission to protect and preserve the wonders of the natural world. And it was proof that, with determination, teamwork, and a little bit of luck, even the most impossible-seeming challenges could be overcome. In the days that followed, the truth behind the elephant's oceanic adventure slowly came to light. The animal was part of a small herd living on the island they had investigated earlier. A severe storm had caused a landslide, frightening the elephants and causing them to flee. In the chaos, this particular elephant somehow ended up in the water, carried out to sea by strong currents. The crew's earlier observations, the strange noises, the tracks leading to the water suddenly made sense in light of this new information. What appeared to be unrelated oddities turned out to be clues to an impending miracle. As news of the incredible rescue spread, the crew of the Sea Eagle found themselves hailed as heroes. Their quick thinking, bravery, and refusal to give up in the face of seemingly impossible odds had saved a life and inspired people around the world. Captain Singh, reflecting on the experience, realized that their routine patrol had turned into something extraordinary, a reminder that the ocean still held many mysteries, and that being prepared for the unexpected was an essential part of their duty as protectors of marine life. The rescued elephant, now safely returned to its herd, became a symbol of resilience and the unexpected wonders of the natural world. For the crew of the Sea Eagle, the memory of that day when they found something strange in the water, screamed in horror, and then rose to the challenge would stay with them forever, a testament to the incredible things that can happen when humans come together to protect and preserve the life around them, both on land and at sea. The crew of the Sea Eagle faced an unimaginable situation when they encountered an elephant in the open ocean.